about your relationship to fear, because just based on our conversation, you sound like somebody who's fearless, someone who, moved to New York from North Carolina and then worked in fashion and then was like, you know what, I'm tired of this. I want to have an art career. And then so you moved to another part of North Carolina and then had an art career. And now you're, creating relationships with West Elm and other places. So how do you think about fear and those times where you do feel fearful because you might be rejected or something won't work out? How do you get past that so you're able to do what you seem to be doing best, which is build up these relationships and showcase your art?
I would say that fear is a friend that's misunderstood, and that no, I am not scared of anything. I really accept COVID. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not scared of that either. My daughter's already had it. So, and I didn't get it, nor did my son. I don't fear in terms of, I think I look at it like it's really not your interpretation of me. So I don't take it personally. Like it's not that that you're judging me, because I just feel like judgment is such a low vibration. And I think that we all are very scared of judgment. And believe me, I am too. And I sit in the bed and twirl around. I'm like, how did that really go? And like, how did I come across today? And, this person, did they think I was this? Or this person doesn't think my art's, I'm not charging enough. And then this person thinks I'm charging too much. And what is really the truth? And is the truth what I think about myself or what they think about me? It's like, yeah, we play that whole game, but I just don't care. I don't, because I think Mick Jagger was dubbed as having rhino skin, I think, by Tom Petty. Tom Petty said that Mick Jagger's got rhino skin, because like in order to be an artist, like you have to have thick skin because you're putting yourself out there for mass judgment, and it's true. But it's like at the end of the day, like in this lifetime that's so fast, and what are we risking by not being authentic, right? And it's like that, I don't know, I just feel like that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be the realest and rawest that Amy that I can be. And I think I'm kind of really raw. I think I'm probably pulling that part off. Somebody asked me if I could do a at the gallery, like come and paint and or paint for some party while people. I said absolutely not. I will not paint in front of people. It is very private with me. It's not like I have a my art and I aren't social friends like we're having a cocktail. It's like I make out with them, and I don't paint on an easel. I get on top of my paintings, and it's very intimate. So it's like so private. It's like you watching me kind of go to the bathroom. Like, no, it's not okay. You can't do that. So I'm raw enough. And I think that we have, a spirit inside us that, we have to form a thicker skin to preserve the sacred spirit within. Enough, I guess that's what the healing community calls a boundary, which I don't have, but that will protect us enough from ourselves that will allow us to just put it out there.
Yeah. So this, your thicker skin, is that something you've developed over time, or is that something that has just naturally developed?
Yes, it has absolutely developed. It was not at all natural. Like if you look at my skin, it's very thin, literally and figuratively. And I think it's almost like an evolution to where, the turtle formed a shell, and it is a form of protection from the elements.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I'm just not as concerned. Yeah, of course, we all want validation. And you know, going back to people that are listening, I mean, I don't, it appears like what's the version of success? Because I have a lot of people that like my art. I have a lot of people that buy that. Now, am I making a what's called a profit? You know what I mean? That's what we need is the profit part. And that's where I am right now. I've either got to charge more because I've gotten the base and I have to start, I guess, charging more to make money because I just really wanted people to have it. That's where I am now. And so it has been an evolution to where that's the part, Yuri, that's very, very, very vulnerable for me. Like it's not vulnerable for me to create collaborations, but it is vulnerable for me to stand in front of someone and say, this is my price, you know, and that's really hard to put a price on energy and have someone, because this is kind of intangible and it's not like I went to your house and I fixed your plumbing and I worked an hour and you're going to pay me. We all know who's listening. Like we could work for 72 hours and nobody want to buy it and nobody find value in it. And that's, I think, the vulnerable part that you're speaking of, that, yeah, that's tricky.
So it's interesting that is the touchy point. I
I know, right?
not of like based off of our conversation, I wouldn't have guessed that price is that like that non-thick skinned part of it. So right now though, when let's say you were at my condo with a piece of art, how do you, when I say I love it, how much is it? How do you price your art?
Mm. Well, do you want the old Amy or the new Amy, the new and improved?
Well, I would love to hear what
Do you want the
the
historical or do you want no?
we,
Okay,
whichever
well,
you're feel comfortable with. But I do want to know like nowadays though, how are you really thinking about pricing it? Because that is a very important and that's that's a lot of the conversations I have with artists are
yeah,
around
it's imperative. It's
yeah.
imperative. It's the necessary ingredient. Well, it's just interesting because I just had a conversation for the first time. Okay, so you know, from the beginning of the interview, I've been doing this professionally for 8 years. And do you know what? Today was the first day that I sent out a price list to a art curator in New York because she wanted to put my things online. So that made me have to alchemize and equalize the prices that I do with Charleston locally. And so I just put it out there today.
Mm-hmm.
And that's getting digested. So that was awful. But if I went to your apartment and you said, Amy, I love it, how much is it? Historically, I would base it on our connection, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I would say, how much do you think it's worth? That's what I would say. And then you would go, you need to tell me how much it is. And I would say, okay. And then at that point, I would literally formulate a price that I felt you wouldn't even say anything. I would just felt a price like in my head, like, okay, this was the canvas. This is the time. This was easy for me. This was not easy for me. I will always be in touch with this person. We will always have a friendship. That I would price it at that point. Yeah, that's what I would do. That's not what I would do now because I would say before I go over, and last week I didn't even do that. I had a lady and her husband wanting a like 7-foot piece for their entryway, and I had to, play twister with this man to stretch it, painted it, brought it over in my papa's pickup truck, and not ever discussed how much they were willing to pay. Well, I guess that didn't matter at that point, but how much the piece was. And I won't do that again. this is part of the new and improved Amy, and this is where we're going. And this is part of what I think COVID is teaching us too, that we really need to, this is our evolve, and this is our evolution, where we start really knowing what we want, what we need, and then how we get that. So, yeah, and I'm gonna have to pull on that Iron Man rhino skin, so to speak, and just say this is what the price is. And I think locally it's going to be really different, because I'm going to have to up the prices, but I think that I've saturated the market. I've got to go somewhere else in terms of, like, I've got to grow, I've got to grow. I've fertilized enough here. So, yeah, so that price is difficult. And there's a bar. It's kind of like for abstracts, under $1,000 is like the mass market. That's what people want for a 4x5 piece.
Yeah.
If it's, I think really like 600 is digestible for the majority of the population, middle income population. The husbands won't get mad. The wife likes it. The kids say it's nice. They get compliments on it. They're happy with it. And then above that, that's going upscale. And then gallery prices, I don't know if I should speak about prices on this, but I mean, I will, because I want to be transparent. I'm in a gallery in Charleston, and they are selling what I would sell, because I just wanted people to have it, because they are friends with my daughter, are friends, and they're nice people. They're selling for $3,000. Now, again, they're pricing it at $3,000. It's not moving like it is. So there's like a really soft spot between, being at a gallery and having that exposure to that upper end clientele versus, like, if you love painting, and I do it every day. I'm painting every day. I would go pick up the kids, and the steering wheel is covered with paint, and there's paint everywhere, and there's paint. Oh, Amy, you got paint in your face. Oh, really? I'm not surprised. To where that you can do that. But see, now I don't really think I can do that. Once I literally just standardize those prices, I can't really go back. And I guess, again, we're moving forward. When energetically we're in it's really, it's called a portal. Like, it's open now. Like, whatever, it's manifestation, like whatever you want, now is the time to put it forward, in other words. So I'm going for it. I think we should probably schedule a podcast next year and ask me how this went.
I definitely will, because I do want to hear the follow-up. But so you did something very interesting, which is, how you value your art, let's say price-wise, and then how a professional gallery values your art. And it sounds like there is a huge, like, distance between that two. And yes, I understand that a lot of galleries do inflate prices on purpose for multiple reasons. And I don't know how many of your art pieces have sold, let's say, at the $3,000 level, but I'm guessing you are probably could sell art pieces, if not $3,000, for a little bit less than that to a particular clientele in the area. So my question with this is, you've kind of named a couple of different types of individuals who you think would be interested in your art. The new Amy moving forward, what type of individual are you hoping to sell your art to? It is more of a mass market, or are you trying to move to a higher level, sophisticated buyer who can afford to spend more money?
Yes, the second, because I think what, I was giving you kind of like a broad scope. The majority of my pieces, like I said, so let's just say that the gallery is selling at $3,000. I would sell them for 1,200 to 1,500. That's usually what I sign for. Like the 600
Mm.
was just, you know, I just was
Okay.
being very gracious, and feeling a lot of love at that inner